Welcome, everyone, to a new episode of the Put It in a Bubble. And I'm your host, Marilyn Barker. I'm very excited on today's episode because we have a guest with us, Bobby Newell. I'm so excited to have her here with us today. Bobby is a licensed clinical social worker. Therapist, executive business coach. Oh my gosh, her reservoir is just like full of things. She's from Raleigh, North Carolina, and she has 2 decades of experience in trauma informed mental health care. And here at Put It in a Bubble, we're all about mental health. She's the founder of Mindful Collaboration. It's a group mental health practice dedicated to helping clients heal from trauma and stress, both in traditional and body-based therapies. And she is now the author of Shift Happens, a workbook for stressed out professionals. I'm very excited to have her here today and to talk about her new book that's coming out. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And then outside of her professional work, she lives with her 2 fluffy cats. And she has 3 adult children and a husband. So she's a busy professional like we all are. So welcome, Bobby. I'm so glad that you're on here with us today. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be on.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about how you got started as a social worker.
Oh goodness. I had two teen parents growing up, so that definitely led to its own set of struggles. And then grew up in a Catholic family where giving back to your community was definitely part of your role within community, and I think that led me to social work. And so the thing I love about social work is that it's so vast what you can do, right? Like you can
Yes.
do some macro practice and work within the community, and you can do some one-on-one work and help people actually heal and move past things that they've really been struggling with.
Yes, absolutely. And we so need that, especially in today's society, even more so. So tell us a little bit about mindful collaboration.
Yeah, so I started my practice with the intent of, like I said, working with people who've experienced trauma and landed on somatic experiencing, which I love. Um, I was somebody who grew up really like neck up, paying attention to my body and not paying attention to neck down. And so to find out like, oh, wait, I have a body, there's more to me here, and it's talking to me, really influenced my practice and how I want my clinicians in my practice to show up for clients and how we help them.
Awesome. Could you tell us a little bit, expand a little bit, because a lot of people might not know what body-based therapies are. Just give us a couple
Yeah.
examples if
Yeah, definitely in our culture, like I said, a lot of us function neck up, and we have this lovely nervous system that is constantly scanning for cues of safety and cues of danger. And we have experiences in our lives a lot of times where we get stuck and we might be either ignoring or overlooking cues of danger or not taking in cues of safety. And that impacts how we show up in relationship, how we're able to settle or not settle ourselves in certain spaces, and how we can let our emotions override how we're operating throughout the day. So it might be that I have a lot of trauma, even like money trauma. I might have a lot of money trauma, and then that shows up in how I'm responding to my spouse when we have bills due, or how I'm approaching asking for a raise at work, or loaning money to a friend, or saying no to someone who wants to borrow money.
true, true. And I think what you said is so true about your body feeling it, because we all talk about mental health as being, in our minds and in
Mhm.
our mindset and being mindful, right? But sometimes it can manifest into other ways of exhaustion or ailments and things like that. And we don't realize that the two are so connected.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. And so what made you want to write the book Shift Happens?
Yeah. So one of the things we see a lot in our practice is people struggling with things that are happening at work. And I mean, where do we spend the bulk of our time as adults? We're not in school anymore, so we don't spend the bulk of our time in school. We spend it at work. And, you know, people tend to hate their jobs, tend to hate going to work, or they're having personality conflicts with somebody at work, or feeling like the burden is too stressful and it's too much for them, and it impacts their lives outside of work. So they're not enjoying their lives. They're going to this job that they hate. It's causing burnout. It's causing physical ailments, like you were mentioning. And so it's impacting all parts of their lives, impacting their relationships, their health, their wealth, their ability to enjoy themselves. So we just see so much of it, and so much of it I feel is preventable. A lot of times people aren't noticing where they can say no, or that they should say no to certain things. And that's a hard concept for employers to hear of, like, oh, what do you mean they can say no to me? Or they can have boundaries, or that they're not operating within their values within the workplace. And this all impacts how they're showing up in life.
Yes, yes. And I think I've been thinking about it. It really kind of, even when you work for yourself, you still feel that because you have clients that can do the same thing. So even, and I find it even harder because you're your own boss. I have a hard time telling myself no, no, don't take
Yeah.
on that client or whatever, right? So I think it can work for everybody in whatever aspect of their work life. Don't you think?
100%. Like I actually wrote the intro to my book is about my own experience within my own business, and finding myself at a place where I hated my business. I was resentful of it and I wanted to be out of it.
I have had that myself, so I'm looking forward to reading the book because I experienced that on occasion so much, and
Yeah.
it gets so hard to say no. You don't want to do something because you're like you think you need to just say yes to everything.
Mhm.
So I totally get that. Can you give us like maybe just a little teaser of like something that we could do to
Yeah.
shift it?
Yeah, so the first thing, I mean, this is like just where you wanna start, is just slowing down. Right? Like the world comes at us really fast, and we forget to slow down. We forget, I've heard your podcast, you talk about mindfulness. We forget to even just take moments to be mindful, even if it's just drinking our coffee in the morning, right?
Right.
But slowing down, and even like when you enter a room, do you look around? Do you look around and just see if the space is safe enough for you to be in? So many times I have people come in my office, and before we work on this, they just jump right in. They don't even close the door behind them. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And then they want to start talking, and the door's wide open, and they just dive right in. And once we start working on some of these skills and strategies, they start noticing things like, has that always been on your desk? Like, yeah, that's always been on my desk. Has that painting always been behind you? Yeah, that painting has been here for 2 years. And they haven't noticed it until, because they're not actually taking the space in. So when we work on it, and this is a simple thing, like you think, well, okay, yeah, I'm going to look around. Like, what's that going to do for me? But you're actually looking for, is this space safe enough for me? Is there some place my eyes like to land that feels good? You know, Therapy can be really intense. Is there some place that I can, go to when we're, like, getting to some heavy stuff and I need a moment?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I always tell people you need to take just a few moments to breathe during the day
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
think about where you are, and I always say that I'm really big into networking, and that's the first thing I do when I go into a networking event is I scan the room.
That's
Right?
brilliant.
You look
Yeah.
around, you find where am I at? Well, for me, I was like, look, see where the exit is, right? First, just in case.
Right, like, how do I get out of here? Right.
Right? Like, absolutely. Like you said, you got to feel safe. And a lot of us don't even think about that. And we
Yeah.
really should. So I always look to see where the exits are. I look at the people, I look at where I'm at, and the theme of the room, because you can feel the vibe. But I always take that moment to be conscious of what's happening. And
Yeah, I'm
that
sure
is
you're
something.
also taking in, like, who like, are these faces, do they feel friendly? Do they
Yes,
feel approachable, right? Can like, what's
absolutely.
the body language like? Like you're saying, you can feel the vibe and the energy of the room, you know, are these people approachable? Do I feel safe enough in this space? And that's exactly what we're talking about.
Right. Because, and so many people don't, because sometimes you just, if you do get that bad vibe and you're not feeling it, then maybe it's not something that we should be at. That's, I'm like, you don't say yes to every
Mhm.
opportunity just because it's an opportunity.
Right. Right. Or, we were taught at a young age to override what our nervous system is telling us. Like, I mean, at a young age, we may have been seeing that there were cues of danger, but we were taught to ignore it, taught to override it. Like, no, everything's fine here. And so then that carries over into adulthood.
Yes, yes. And you don't have to do things that make you uncomfortable. If you're
Right.
feeling uncomfortable, it is not a requirement to do. And
Right.
a lot
Right.
of us have to relearn that.
Yeah, and in the book Shift Happens, like, you're also gonna learn ways that when you do want to participate, but your body is resisting, due to past trauma, like, ways to wake up your nervous system so that you can, engage with other people and actually be present. So that's where that mindfulness comes into play, right? Where you can learn to quiet your mind, focus on the things that you wanna focus on. It's like training your brain. It's like a muscle, and being able to show up and be present.
Oh, absolutely. That makes me really, I was already excited to read this book, but now I'm like super, super excited, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do sometimes do that when you start feeling that, I take a minute and breathe and
Mhm.
self-talk myself into it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
And and
yeah, yeah,
and be able to get past, because we are conditioned for that fight or flight sometimes, even if it's not justified. So
yeah.
that's why I'm like, it is very good about being mindful and your mindset. If you have a bad attitude or something, you have to get yourself into that better mindset to approach something.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I do think the book will be,
Absolutely.
like,
Oh,
really
so
helpful to folks.
yes, yes, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit. When does the book come out and how people can get it?
Yeah, so the book comes out November 18th, and it'll be a download through Kindle, so you can get it through Amazon. And I also have, I'll give you a link that I have where people can get a mini workbook that'll get them started on some of these skills early, so they can already have something they can use and they can get on the wait list for the book.
Oh, awesome. Yes, definitely. So, when you're listening to this, be sure to check out the show notes on putitinabubble.com for this episode, and the link will be there so that you can utilize that and really, make the most out of the book, because that's why we all read these books, right? Is to make the most out of it and put them into practice in our lives, in our everyday lives. So tell us a little bit about, you're there in North Carolina. So do you do anything virtual, or is everything in person there in North Carolina? Or tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, thanks to COVID, we do a nice hybrid of in-person and virtual. And yeah, we have availability to serve anyone who is in North Carolina. And then we do also offer intensives. So if somebody wanted to come to North Carolina, we could do a somatic intensive. And we offer concierge mental health for businesses so that we can provide workshops, um, direct EAP within the state for their clients, available for crisis response, that type of thing.
Oh, that is awesome. And also in the show notes, I will have a link to your webpage where people can contact you.
Yeah.
And on social media too. She's on social media under Mindful Collaboration. You can find her there. And so you said you have 3 adult children and 2
Hmm.
cats. I am a cat person.
Yeah.
I now have 2 cats, and they're always up in here. I'm surprised that we're not seeing them.
Mhm.
on this. If you're watching the video of this podcast, you usually would see my cats up here. So let's just talk a little personal, a little bit, if you're okay with that. So tell us what kind
Yeah.
of cats they are, how long you've had them.
Yeah, so they are sisters, and they're, just your typical house cat. Like, one's a calico and one's, oh, what's the other one? A tabby. And, they fight like sisters, and then they snuggle on the couch together like sisters, and, they're hilarious to watch. They are, gosh, they gotta be about 10 years old now, and they were a nice gift, to me and my kids. Yeah, so they're adorable and sweet, and I love them, and I want a dog, and I don't know how that's gonna go, so
That does make an interesting mix. I do have a dog, and
Mhm,
it's interesting to see them all interact. I have two tabbies. One is 19, and
mhm,
we just introduced a 6-month-old kitten, and it's been hilarious to watch all of them
uh-huh,
interact with each other.
yeah,
So it is, pets are great. I always encourage people, I think pets are great for mental health because
yes,
they love
yeah,
you unconditionally, whether it's a dog or a cat or both. And
mhm,
I just mentioned I have an adult daughter. She's 23, and she just moved out. And my husband works all day long, and my office is in my home. And I was just telling my husband the other day that the kitten is a good addition, and I'm so glad that I have all three of them, because I would be lonely now that
yeah,
my daughter's gone and my husband's off to work all day long. I'm like, I talk to them a lot. And sometimes I talk to myself and I'm like talking to the dog or something, because I don't want to think that I'm just talking to myself all the time. So I really think that people really should have pets. I'm a
yes, and in thinking about nervous system, like, pets are, like, really great readers of nervous systems, and they pick up on if
Absolutely.
you're feeling anxious. Can they come sit next to you and calm you down? Or they're really looking for those cues of danger and safety, right? Like, is this person safe for me to be around?
Absolutely. And I tell people, you always want to watch how your pets act around other people, because you can
Mhm.
really tell, because they have great instincts,
Yeah.
and my dog is a very good protector. He always, he's always facing away from me when he sits at my legs or on the couch with me or
Mhm.
whatever,
Mhm.
because he's watching everything that goes on. But that unconditional love from a pet is just something that you can't match when they're, especially a cat, when it jumps up on your lap and wants, hugs
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
It really
agree.
can calm you down. It really can. So those of you out there that have pets, I'd love to hear from you on your thoughts on that. And if you don't have a pet, maybe it's time to think about getting one, because they really are great for your mental health. And I think a lot of people did get pets during COVID,
Mhm.
um, and now they're just like so happy that they did,
Yeah,
because it can make a world of change in your mental health.
yeah, I would agree with that.
All right. So, Bobby, is there anything that we didn't touch on that you would like to talk about? If not, we're going to wrap this up, and let's talk one more time about your book. Or did you have anything else that you want to talk about?
I don't have anything else. I invite all of you to check out the free mini book that you'll have a link for, and you can get on the wait list for Shift Happens. It'll be out next month. It's just a few weeks away, and I'm really excited. I hope that you guys enjoy it, and I would love feedback.
Oh, awesome. Yes, I'm super excited. I'm going to make sure that I get on the wait list for that. And I'm so glad that you could join us today. And I hope that you'll come back in the future. Maybe we can follow up with this in a few months after the book has come out, and maybe we'll be able to take some guests or something and get some feedback, and get what people thought of the book.
Yeah, I would
We
love that.
I would absolutely love that. So again, Bobby, thank you so much for being here, and we're so excited to see Shift Happens, a workbook for stressed out professionals, that's coming out soon. And like we said, there's a link in the show notes for this. Mindfulcollaborations.com, I believe, is the website, off the top of my head, that you can find
Yeah.
out more about Bobby and follow her on social media. So, for today, remember, everyone, if life is feeling overwhelming, put those thoughts in a bubble and blow them away. So, until next time, thanks for being here.
Awesome. Thank you.